back to Hilltop Farm. Today I'm going to be canning the pear chutney. Now, for all you Americans, canning is second nature from what I can make out. Here in Australia, it's almost unheard of. Now, before I went into homesteading, I was aware of water bath canning, well, we just called it preserving. But beyond that, the whole idea of pressure canning is very, very new, and most Australians have never heard of it. So I am going to do a tutorial on just what canning is and how the basics of how to do it, and I'll go through the equipment, but I'll do that comprehensively in another video. But for now, I'm just going to run through very quickly your equipment. Now, the chutney is to be done water bath canning, so you don't have to have a pressure canner. You don't even have to have a water bath canner. You could make do with a stock pot, but as long as it has a rack on the bottom. Your jars cannot sit on the bottom of the pot. Okay, over here, this is the top of a Presto pressure canner. You have your weight here, pressure gauge, the safety valve at the back. Inside it is your rubber seal. Most important to take care of this rubber seal. You can get spare parts, but these should last you many years, so you have to look after it, and as I say, I'll go through that in another video. This is the canner itself with racks in the bottom. I get 2 racks whenever I buy a canner. They usually come with 1. I get 2 because if you're doing pint jars you can do a second layer, but you do need a rack in between. Okay, now back to the weight. The weight is adjustable and it depends on your altitude as to what weight you put on the canner. So I also recommend you get yourself a blue book. It's called a blue ball canning book. As far as I know, they release a new one every year, and it's full of recipes, but in there it does tell you the basics about how to can, and talks about altitudes and the weights that you need to use. Okay? You will also need a special funnel for filling up your jars. You will need ball mason jars and ball mason lids. You will also need a grabbing tool to pick up your hot jars, magnetic tool to pick up your hot lids. This is used to get bubbles out of the jars. Won't be necessary with the chutney, but you do use it with other things. There is paper towel and vinegar, and I shall show you shortly how we use those and what they're used for. And a ladle. And, I don't know if you can see, but you will need your chutney. Okay, easy peasy this to get started. I've got my jars. They have been through the dishwasher and they've been just sitting in hot water. Start with my jar, and I simply just fill the jar with this beautiful concoction. Now, I want to leave about an inch of headspace for those of you that aren't used to canning, headspace is the distance between the top of the contents and the top of the jar. Okay? Now, that's all good. Now, as you can see, we have some spillage. Don't worry about spillage on the outside of the jars. What you do have to worry about is spillage where the seal goes. So you take your paper towel, you dip it in your vinegar, and you run it around where the seal would go. Okay? You can't take that off, but it doesn't matter. It will come off in the canner. But cleaning where the seal goes, I can't stress to you the importance. It won't seal if you have food there. Okay? Take a lid, you pop it on, you pop a ring on, you do up, and you do not tighten. You do it up until it grabs. That is it. Do not tighten it, or it will blow. And I mean it will blow. So, you then pop this in the canner, and then you do another one. Now you have your canner just at a simmer at this point, and you just pop your jars in, and you wait until all your canning's done and they're all in there. Okay, I'll be back when the canner's full. Okay guys, we got 8 we got 8 jars of our pear chutney, but they're pint jars. So we've got that. Now it's just the canner's just coming up to the boil. You're going to want to boil this, make sure all your jars are submerged and that they stay submerged for the entire process. They've got to be in there for at least 10 minutes. Okay? Once they come to the boil, you start timing it. Now, the vinegar I was using to clean the rims of the jars, we pop that in, give that a bit of a swirl, and what that does is that just stops the jars from becoming cloudy. They get cloudy on the outside. If you forget to do it, it's not a problem. It just means the jars won't look as attractive, or you'll have a bit of a job to clean them. But I always just throw in the vinegar that I've used to clean my seals, and then when you finish canning, they'll be beautiful. So, we'll be back in 10 minutes time, roughly. It's almost at a boil, so probably closer to 15 minutes we'll be back, and take them out of the canner and we'll have a look, see what we've got. Okay, so we've done for 10 minutes. Now it's time for them to come out of there. Obviously, being very careful, put them on a towel or a tea towel. You can't put them straight onto something that's cold. You run the risk that they may shatter, and you certainly don't want that. Now, as you get them out, you will hear the lovely sound of them pinging, and that pinging is them sealing. And I know Linda from Linda's Pantry gets most excited when they seal, and I can understand why. You know that you've done your job. Now these have to be left here until the morning, where they can thoroughly cool, and then tomorrow I will show you how to check the seals, make sure they're clean, and to mark them, and then they go into our long-term storage pantry for use. Although I will say this chutney is best if left for 3 months before you eat it. But you know, if you want to cheat and have a taste, well, that's fair enough. But 3 months' time, it'll be to die for. Okay, we'll be back in the morning. Okay, good morning. We are back. Now, we have to check to make sure that our jars have sealed. All you do is you remove the rings and you check. Okay? Now, what I do is I give them all a wash. There's inevitably going to be a certain amount of spillage on the jars, and that will attract ants into your pantry, which you do not want. So that's all you do. And you do the next one. And check your seal. And all good. And you keep going until they're all done. So there you have it. That's how you can chutney. Okay? Now, if you're giving it as a gift to someone, you can put a nice little label on the jar. But when it's just for us in our own pantry, rather than have the hassle of trying to get the labels off later, we just mark on the top with a permanent marker what the product is and the date we made it. And although ball masons say they're good for 12 months, I'm quite happy as long as the seals stay intact. Up to 3 years this will stay in our pantry, and we've never had any problems. So there you go. Any questions or comments? Just leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to press like and hit subscribe so you don't miss our next video. See you later.